Hello, everybody. I'm Trish with Ride Independence, and I have with me Maria K from Canada.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Trish. How are you?
Hi. Hi, Maria. Well, you look fantastic. It's my honor to have you on Ride to
Thank,
Independence.
thank you.
So,
Thank,
you're welcome. So, Maria, how old are you?
I'm actually 77 years old.
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
I'm
How old?
77.
When did you turn 77?
Well, my birthday's in July, so I will be 78 this year.
Okay, you can say you're 78 because we're in July.
I'm doing it. That's right. No, I'm going to hold off for as long as I
Oh
can.
my goodness. Well, you look fantastic. And my next question, of course, is how old do you feel?
Well, I feel a lot better now than when I was younger and
Oh,
raising three kids and juggling a full time job and visiting my mom who was aging and traveling to Chicago. I felt like I was living on coffee and chaos. But now I do feel better. I feel more energetic. I used to be quite tired in those days. So I
right.
feel more energetic, I feel, more relaxed, and I
Yeah.
feel youthful. I do feel youthful. I don't feel old at all yet.
Right, right. Do you still feel your biological age should be what? Like 45, 50, 60?
Well, maybe closer to 60. Yeah,
Okay.
I was stretching it a little bit,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
well, I think 55 to 60 is the way I feel, really.
Well,
Yeah,
well, that's fantastic because you certainly look it. So Canada must be doing something right.
thanks.
So, Maria, tell me what is your profession? What did you do in life?
Well, I was a college prof for 31 years, working with college students. It was the best job ever. Can you imagine being surrounded with young people every single day, learning their memes, their jargon, their interests, their tech
Yeah,
things that they
language.
enjoy doing, shopping for cell phones. Um, and I really loved it. But just as I was retiring, online learning and online teaching became quite popular.
Oh,
And I didn't like that very much because it was a whole huge learning curve, learning the new technology. And I didn't want to stand in front of a computer or sit in front
right.
of a computer instead of having live students in front of
Yeah.
me. So I just felt that it was time to retire. A student came into my office. Um, I was already ready to retire and said, Miss, I couldn't do my work and I haven't been able to come to class because I have to look after my mother. She's so old. And I said, you can't do anything. And I said, oh, Parminder, I'm so sorry to hear that. Don't worry about it. Yes, I really have to help her a lot. She's just so old. I said, well, Parminder, is she sick? Goes, no, she's not sick. She's just really old. How old is she? 52. So
Oh my god.
and then one of my evaluations came in, good teacher, loved the class, learned a lot.
Yeah,
He reminds me of my mother.
yeah.
So I thought, okay, it's time to back it in.
Oh
So
my god. I mean, 52, that is we still think, that is still very young, and it's amazing how, kids in their 20s think that
that's right.
50, 55, 60 is old until they
Oh, yeah.
start getting up, and they start getting up in age, and they realize, "Hey, actually,
Yes.
that's not very old." But,
No.
so you were a
Anyway,
professor in what? What did you teach?
I was teaching communications and mostly ESL, English as a second language. We have
Oh, okay.
a lot of international students in Canada, and the demographic where I work has a lot of international students. So we would prepare them to get into their programs. So, for example, if they're going into computers or nursing or technology and their English skills weren't up to par, that was our job. So I was the director of that department for a few years too. So
Oh, okay. Okay. And, Maria, you still have a husband?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm still married for 55 years this year.
Okay, 55 years. Now, are you active Canadians? Do you stay very active?
Well, I stay very active. I play tennis at least 3 times a week, and I've now started to play some pickleball, which I
Okay.
really like. And, I go to the gym quite a bit. We own our own house, so I do a lot of gardening, and I do housekeeping and some light renovations, some projects. So I stay active that way, and I have a my daughter is raising 2 children, so I have 2 grandkids, and so I'm the pickup after school and take them home and do the tutoring and drive them to their activities, so that really keeps you active and
Yes.
keeps you so I feel
Yeah,
sometimes like Uber driver
right.
and uh, a tutor and a
Yeah.
chef at the same time, but I love it, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, it definitely keeps you busy. So you mentioned education, you being a professor of communications, being a grandmother, a great grandmother. Oh, no, grandmother. No, you're a grandmother. Uh, how do you feel the education in Canada is as
Well,
opposed to when your children you were raising your children?
well, I think even then and now, I think our education system is really stellar. Um, the one reason is that in the primary and in the secondary system, teachers get paid very well. I'm not
Okay.
sure the United States, but
Right.
it's a competition. Students that finish, high school go into teachers college. They want to be teachers, and the pensions that they get are excellent. Nobody quits teaching. They love being there. So they do put a lot of effort into the jobs. At the university and college level, we don't have private universities. Everything is
Oh,
public. So
okay.
there's a large competition to get in. The tuition is heavily subsidized by the government, so our students don't leave with huge debts, student debts. And again, it's a very coveted job to be a teacher. So there is a large competition. A lot of people want to be teachers. And if you're committed to being a good teacher, your students will benefit from that.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's actually very fascinating. I didn't realize that Canada only had public universities. So there's
Right.
no private universities. So everyone is at the same level.
That's right. We have some yeah, we well, the competition is tough to get in because, you can't just pay a lot of money to get in.
Right, right,
Mhm. And at the secondary school level, we do have some private schools. And even in the primary school, we do have some private schools,
right.
high schools and primary schools, but the universities are public.
Well, that's because they're subsidized.
That's right.
I mean, they're heavily subsidized, which is another thing that I'm very jealous about Canada to have because I had to pay a hefty amount for my son and my daughter to go to private universities, but also you also Canada also subsidizes your health care.
Yeah, we have a brilliant healthcare system.
Wow.
And I can talk about that later, but, yeah, our healthcare system, I think, is wonderful in that we don't have to pay for anything. Um, it's universal. Um, if a lot of criticism, people say, "Oh, you have to wait so long in Canada to get good health care." If if it's an acute problem,
Mhm.
you can go to the emergency room immediately and have uh, an operation the next day. Let's say it's a heart attack or something that's
Of course.
critical.
Yeah.
If it's elective surgery, well, then you might have to wait 6 months or
I mean,
whatever.
that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, here too, anyone who goes into the emergency room, of course, is gonna be seen, is gonna be taken care of, but I do like that Canada does subsidize your the education, the healthcare. I think that's fabulous. We have a president right now who's trying to take a lot of these benefits away from Americans. And they just passed a huge bill. He calls it a big, beautiful bill. Well, I call it a big, beautiful shit bill
Yeah.
because he's taking a lot of social programs away from hard-paying American citizens who pay taxes. He's trying to reduce Medicaid, and, eventually, who knows what else he's gonna try to take away. He cut our Department of Education. I mean, my god, I think that's crucial
That's
in
that's diabolical, actually.
yeah,
But, we do I mean, our taxes are higher than what the US is paying, and because we do have those kinds of social programs that our taxes pay for. But, I mean, the tuition is reasonable, we just kind of write a check for that. Some students do get loans. If you want to live off campus, on campus, you do have to pay for that. But generally, our students do not leave with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, in tuition debt.
right, yeah.
So
I mean, my son, wife, believe it or not, still has a huge tuition bill, from going, to getting her nursing degree, and she went to NYU to get her master's, and, that was no, short feat, but she did it, and they still have to take care of that bill before they even start thinking about buying a home, and, it's just
and
something that a lot of
yeah.
American, young adults have to deal with.
And we're not afraid to go to the doctor. We're not afraid to get second opinions because we know we don't have to pay. We're not afraid if we have a very serious illness that
Mhm.
it's going, cost us $50,000 for a hip replacement or for open heart surgery. We don't worry about that. So it makes us feel a little bit more secure
Yeah. Oh,
as a
absolutely. Absolutely. To not have that stress about having to worry about how you're going to, take care of yourself if something happens, I think that's an amazing, thing to have where you don't have to stress so much about your health. As someone who's active and educated at your age, 76, what keeps you so optimistic about the future, both, personally and globally? Are you optimistic about that right now with
well,
what's happening?
it's a very difficult time right now, and I'm worried about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Um, but I look at the young people, I look at my grandkids, and I look at the young people, those that are involved. Um, I look at the way that they're concerned about the climate and concerned about looking after each other. They're concerned about some of the social programs, the homeless. I'm optimistic for the younger generation. I'm just not optimistic about globally what's happening, but I am optimistic that our young people are going to persevere and become really strong citizens of this country.
I don't think they have a choice, Maria. I don't
I
think
know.
they have a choice. I really do think that they have to they've been raised in a global environment and a political environment that, they're being told that, "Hey, you're on your own.
And
You're on
they,
your own."
they
And
need to become involved and get away from the internet and all the, conspiracy theories and all the misinformation. And when they become informed and involved and educated, then I think they'll make good decisions for the future. I'm
of
optimistic for
course.
them.
And that's where critical thinking comes in.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
when we
true.
when we don't have
Very
critical thinking and when critical thinking uh, is being mentioned as, I mean, just being degraded, it really says something about our education because critical thinking is what allows children to and young adults to think about what is happening. They're able to analyze what is happening. They're able to see what is the bullshit and what is not, what's transparent and what's
well.
not.
I taught critical thinking and critical writing, and what worries me now is that social media has taken over making decisions for young people for their writing, for their critical analysis of what's happening in the news or in politics or whatever. They
Yeah.
can just simply click into AI and get an opinion that they would then absorb into their own thinking. So I'm worried about the critical thinking skills because of the internet and because of so much
Right.
extraneous influence. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that
but
is true.
we still strive to instill that in our students. In other words, get away
Very
from the school and read something and look at and see whether or not it is something that's tried to persuade you in a certain way
right.
because of influences, or is it just something that you can analyze yourself? But critical thinking skills are taking a hit right now. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you've heard, but here in America, critical thinking is called woke.
That's I know. It's okay. It's okay if it works. It's okay.
It's called woke, and, right now there's an attack on wokenism.
Oh, I know.
Anything that is anything that's woke, is considered un-American, to half the country. So, that's a awful thing to have to say, but that is what's happening right now. But as a Canadian, what's your general view of what's happening besides in Canada and America? I mean, what's happening now and globally with
Well,
Ukraine?
yeah.
I feel so much pain for the population in Ukraine because they're going through some tough times right now, very tough times, and I know Canada is up there helping, Ukraine with, the European, with NATO, and I really am very proud of Canada and Europe and what they're doing with Ukraine and helping Ukraine. It's just something that, I wanted to mention, because Canada is up there in support, and I really
Well,
appreciate what Canada's doing.
mhm. Our political system is relatively calm. It's relatively, how to say, it's very helpful to other nations. We're trying as hard as we can as Canadians to definitely help Ukraine. I don't know, the Middle East is another whole area
Yeah.
that that we're, you know, I think we're very bilateral when it comes to that. We're not really taking sides. But what I really, what really bothers me about what's happening in the States and how it's affecting Canada. First of all, we're very disappointed as neighbors. We've been neighbors for decades,
Yeah.
friendly, going back and forth, visiting each other, helping each other, and in every way. Um, the second thing is kind of a disbelief in what's happening, like a real concern, because there's a lot of political violent protests. There's those election denials
Yeah.
that happen. Um, and we feel that the US is extremely divided. The two political parties are just at each other's throats, which we don't understand. And then when it happens, when sort of polarization and media misinformation happens, and when populism gets too far, it affects Canada. It has a spillover. Um, and we have empathy for the Americans who don't like to live in that kind of situation. But Canadians are rallying. They're actually, I mean, I was shocked when I saw what was happening and how the Canadians are fighting against everything that's happening in the States.
Right.
And right, they should. They
Yeah.
should. Imagine,
Yeah. No,
Trish, imagine your neighbor coming up to you because you have a beautiful home, you've got lots of nature around your house, you've got great resources, great stuff in the home, and they say, "I'm gonna take it from you. You're gonna become the 51st state." And how would you feel? Like, really? And then demeaning our former prime minister, Trudeau, making him feel like he was a little person that had no stature. That was awful. Um, and change and the tariffs and all the trade wars. I mean, that's all made Canada really resilient. And I'll tell you, travel to the United States is down by 40%.
wow.
In the shops, they actually have little Canadian flags for Canadian products, not for the American. So people are buying Canadian products, bypassing the US and buying other countries. Like if you can't get avocados anywhere, you'd get them from Mexico. And
Right.
they in Ontario took off all the alcohol off the shelves in our province. There's no American alcohol. And I mean, I love California Sauvignon Blanc. It was my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's all
Wow.
gone. So they are retaliating. So, which I think rightly so,
Rightly
because they
so.
need
Rightly
to
so.
show that
Yeah.
we we have a stand in the
Yeah.
world. So
Yeah, it's thank you so much for saying that to me on the podcast, because it's important that people realize that Canada is affected. You are our neighbors, and we've always been neighbors. And I happen
yes,
to have a best friend in Toronto, and I love Toronto. I went on my honeymoon in Montreal, which I love Montreal.
oh, fun.
So
Yeah,
I love Canada, and I love everything that Canada does, and, it inspires me that, you guys are so classy. You stay so classy. You stay above the realm of what's happening, and I really appreciate that. And I have to say Justin Trudeau was one of my favorite prime ministers. I mean,
he was
besides
cute.
being Oh, he was gorgeous. He was
Yeah.
gorgeous. He was gorgeous, he was classy. I mean, he was just really a wonderful prime minister to have. And I have to tell you, I have to, say I kinda like Mark Carney too. I mean, he's not doing too bad, but I'm not there. But I
I'm a
think,
big fan of Mark Carney. He brings so much global experience. He's got a level head. Do you know he was the, governor of the Bank of Canada and of England for many years, so his financial background is huge,
yeah.
very well educated, and he's good for Canada now because I think with his rational mind and his brilliant intellect, he can really, moderate what's happening to Canada from the US. Um, he also worked on climate issues. He's very good at that, and he's very committed to Canada. And he's not looking after himself and his cronies and helping himself get rich. He's really genuine, and he's also really cute. I like his that and he's got that little twinkle in his eye, that little cynical when he was talking to Trump,
I saw him,
Yeah,
and I
he
like
loves
that I like the fact that he was sitting right by, Trump, and he told them, "Well, just wanna say that, Canada's not for sale,"
yeah,
and
just like just like, this, the
and he
White
said it
House is not
very
yeah,
politely, which was really nice, he's sitting right by him,
he's
and he
cool.
just,
Yeah,
made it very polite.
yeah, yeah. He's
So
demure, he's polite,
yeah.
and we think that he can fix our economy and he can make Canada sort of, build up. I mean, right now, he's got some work to do because of the tariffs and because of our dollar. But we have a lot of confidence in him, and we think it's great. We think it's
And
great.
what is
So
temperature right now in Canada? Are you guys, I mean real temperature? Uh, are you having problems with
where well, Trish, where are you? You're
temperature?
you're in New Jersey? Yeah, it's the same as
Yeah.
your yeah.
Okay.
We're in the we're in the high 80s.
Okay.
Beautiful hot summer days. Yeah. I mean, everybody says Canada's so cold you live in igloos, but that's not true.
Okay.
We have, we have the same temperate temperature as Chicago or New Jersey or
Okay.
any of the middle Midwest. It's not like Florida, but it's
Right.
definitely not snow country. I mean, in the winter, okay, fine, but no,
Yeah.
it's not always cold up there.
Right. Well, I'm gonna tell you a little story about, a relative of mine. She says that she was gonna go to Niagara Falls. They were going to drive to Niagara Falls. She says, "I'm gonna drive to Niagara Falls, and I'm gonna have my T-shirt, and I'm gonna have my hat, and I'm gonna say on my hat and on my T-shirt, 'We love you, Canada.'" You
Oh,
know,
that's not
so that
yeah.
was very nice of her to say that because, we want Canadians to know that the American people, uh still find you as our neighbor, and we appreciate you and honor you, and the fact that you're being hit with any type of tariffs or disloyalty to our friendship is we're just letting you know that a lot of Americans feel that
Yes,
what's happening to you guys.
we get a lot of that on Facebook and on
Oh, you
internet.
do?
Oh, lots and lots and lots, and we're very grateful for that. Very rarely do we have somebody saying, "Canada, you should be part of us." No, not at all. Um, but, I'll tell you, I'm a dual citizen. I was
Oh,
raised I grew up in Chicago and then married my Canadian husband, and I've lived in Canada most of my life and raised my kids here. But, uh, you know, I I'm concerned, and I kind of straddle both places. So
right.
I love the United States. I used to go all the time to visit my family. I love the shopping. I love
Yeah.
the people. They're so upbeat. They're super patriotic, which I think is amazing.
Yes.
Um, and my God, you can go into a grocery store and buy 1,000 different sauces.
Right.
But,
Yes.
um, but
Yes.
but what's happening is worrying me deeply because it's very unsettling. And, I know that a lot of Americans support us, but I know a lot of Americans don't because they support making America great again at the expense of all of Europe and Canada and whatever.
Right. Right.
And then there's a sense of instability. It affects us as well.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
I love the Americans. There's no question.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. Question about you and your husband. What do you guys do to have some fun?
Well, you know what? We've been married for 55 years, right? So it's like, y- it's like you've been on a marathon, not just you've been on a marathon. Um, we, I think the reason that we have been married this long and get along so well is that at a certain time of the day, we lead completely different lives. So, for example, in the morning, we get up, my husband grinds the coffee, he makes fresh coffee for me. We sit down, we watch the 6 o'clock or the 7 o'clock news, and we talk. For a good hour, we have our conversation. What are you going to do today, etc. And then we both leave. I leave, he renovates my kids' houses. I do my tennis and my shopping and whatever I need to do. And we don't see each other till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We just do our own thing. We don't sit there together
Right.
all day.
Right. Right. Right.
And
Right.
then 4 o'clock is cocktail hour.
Oh, very nice. I like that.
Mhm. So every 4 o'clock, we have our cocktail. We sit down again and we talk about what we did and how the kids are doing. And we might turn on the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock news, and then we have dinner. And I think having our own separate interests really, really helps us get along well. And we also travel a lot, Trish.
Oh, very.
Every year, somewhere, somewhere. This year in September, we're going to Portugal. But we've been to Africa and China and India, and we just love to travel. So, and when you have to fight over lost luggage
Yeah.
together, you know,
Yeah.
it tests your relationship. But yeah, we have fun. We have a good circle of friends. We go out for
Nice.
dinner. Um, we visit the kids. We have a great family. They visit us all the time. We just that keeps us going,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. That's
And I
wonderful
mean,
to you're healthy. He's healthy too.
'cause he's healthy. He's healthy. He doesn't do a lot of uh, uh, sports right now, but he's always up about.
Mhm.
And intimacy is a good thing at this age because you're so familiar with each other and you know what each person loves and wants to do and you appreciate and respect. And the one thing that really I think saved our marriage is my husband is really funny. He has a sense of humor. So
Yeah.
we're fighting and he'll make me laugh. And
Right.
I'll say, "You won't make me laugh. I'm really mad at you." But it just melts everything. So yeah,
Right.
we have a we have a good time. We've
Yeah.
kept the spark alive. You know, it's beautiful being deeply known by someone and still, reaching for each other, both
Yes,
physically and
yes,
emotionally. Yeah,
yes.
it's real.
Yeah. Well, Canada has a lot to offer, families, and I think it has a lot to offer couples. I mean, is there, like, a lot of hiking trails over there, or a lot of
No,
that you like to do?
our
Nature?
nature is beautiful. We have some property up north with beautiful ski hills and hiking trails and a gorgeous lake. We have so many lakes. Up, north of, well, even Lake Ontario itself, right in the city.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have beautiful nature. It's still fairly unpolluted, fairly pristine. It's a gorgeous country. Our cities are vibrant. Montreal and Quebec are like living in Europe. Uh,
Wonderful.
yeah, I love living in Canada. I loved it living in the States too, and I was drawn to it, and I still am. But Canada's a wonderful place to raise children, to do, a lot of hiking and swimming and boating and lots of activities to do. I encourage everybody to come to Canada.
Well, there's the commercial right there. Come to
Mhm.
Canada.
Now that our dollar is so low, it's
Oh,
40
true.
cents. So, you come and you buy a hamburger and you get 40% off. So it's going to
Wow.
cost you 50 cents. So if, people are coming to Canada and we
They are?
appreciate
Okay.
you could save a lot of money.
Right, right, right. So you've seen a lot of tourism go, in Canada?
Yeah, we do see a lot of tourism. We see a lot of people coming from the States. They do. They
Right.
just cross the border and they're
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
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 Well, I'm gonna make that drive one of these days up to Canada. I'm
Well, you're
so looking
welcome.
forward.
There's
Yes, I remember when I went to Canada, I went to Niagara Falls. My friend surprised me, and she took me to Niagara Falls, and I just loved it, and that's how I told my sister. I told my sister-in-law about it. I told everybody, "If you have a chance, go to Niagara Falls, but go on the Canadian side." I don't
oh,
under
yeah, it's more beautiful.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
more
understand why the American side is not built up yet. I don't understand.
well, no, the actual falls are more spectacular in the Canadian side.
Oh, is
I
that
don't
what
know.
it is? Okay.
Yeah, no, building up the infrastructure around it, it's okay on both sides, but they say it's more spectacular, and I've witnessed it myself. It's more profound, bigger, and bolder on the Canadian side.
Yeah. No, definitely it is. Definitely it is. But, so listen, Maria, thank you so much for hanging with me and talking to me. You're
Well,
my
thank
first
you.
Canadian to come on my podcast, and it was my honor to have you.
Well,
And
thanks for helping me, and thanks for letting me expound on the Canadian side of
absolutely. I loved your point of view, and, I really, appreciate you, and if there's anything that you wanna share with the Americans, um, I can post it on my, bio and my links. I can post it in my description. So if there's anything you wanna send to me, I'll be more than happy to post it. But thanks again for hanging with me, on Ride to Independence, and, you take care of yourself.
you too. Thank
All
you for
right?
having me. It's been fun.
Absolutely.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much for showing up at Ride to Independence.
Okay, take care. Take care.
Bye-bye.